Hello and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for taking the time, as always, for tuning in. I am continuing the next video in my cold hard truth series, where I just boil it down to its most simplest, straightforward, and just fucking honest expression of a sign. So I have covered a couple, and I have also been doing other videos on other things, but at the moment, this is what I've been wanting to talk about. So yeah, I had a minute and I got a cup of coffee and I just sit down and just tell you the real shit. So without further ado, let's get on with the video. If you would like to support my channel, please like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. I love reading the comments. Everyone's opinion is relevant. Housekeeping out of the way. This is sun sign only. We're not looking at the moon or the Venus or the Mercury or the Mars, nothing. We're just looking at the straight up sun sign. And I have made it really clear that the sun sign is your outer world. It's how the world sees you. It's how you interact with the world. Your moon sign is who you really are, your most private, personal, interconnected world to your true self. And then you've got your Venus, which is how you love. It's how you integrate other beings or lack thereof. And then you've got your Mercury, communication, and so on and so forth. And the rising sign, of course, is, which I'll be doing a video on at some point this year, is how you see the world. So if life was a movie theater and you're looking at the screen, the position that you're positioned in, are you in the front row? Are you in the back row? Are you in up the back and the side? Will be the determining of how you see the world. So that's the lens that you see the world through. So yes, the rising and the ascending sign are the same thing. Okay, so housekeeping out of the way, the cold, hard truth of Aries, I'm going to give it to you brutally, and then I'm going to look at some of the good traits of them. So I'm just going to go off the top of my head because I have been studying astrology for a long time. Aries, you guys are, I think first of all, let's just look at the idea, like the concept of Aries. I'm not going to give you something that you already know. You already know it's the ram. You already know it's the first sign in the zodiac. Aries is the baby. It's all about them. It's all about their needs. They need someone to control. They need someone to manipulate or tell someone else what to do. Yes, that's all true. Yes, it is true. This is a very powerful sign. And this sign is capable of assertion, strength, and breaking through obstacles. Okay, I'm going to talk about the ram, the animal itself. The symbolism of the animal, the ram, is, it is a form of bigger horn sheep, and it is, whether it's a mountain kind of based animal, whether it is living out in the forest or it's living in a paddock somewhere. We just think of the ram, this kind of bone protruding, horned being, long fur and hooves, and aggressive. If you've known a ram will charge you. They are fiery. They are unpredictable. Particularly the males. We know that in the outer world, looking at this beautiful animal, and the ram is a beautiful animal, as is the goat or the Capricorn, the sea goat. Half fish, half goat. The ram is a metaphor for truth, strength, and of course, protection. When we look at the horns of this being, it is all about protection. I often think of the movie Alita, Battle Angel. That movie, she's the Aries. If you're listening to this and you're in Aries, because most people want to listen to their sign, you have a ability to jump into life and a wisdom to know just to get on with it. Cut out the procrastination, cut out all of the red tape, cut out all of this exhausting bullshit that other signs make up, like the Virgos, and they just want to get straight down to business. Okay, you guys know how to defend yourselves. And the real beauty of an Aries is protection. This sign offers protection to people. It will defend those that will not defend themselves. And they feel quite naturally in tune when they're holding a weapon. And like the concept of the fiery god of Mars, Aries, the planetary alignment, this is a masculine sign. So straight up, a lot of the female Aries are very androgynous. They're very warrior-like. A lot of them, a lot of the females really take on a lot of the attributes of protector, nurturer, defender, warrior. There is a Zulu energy going on with this sign, and it is fantastic. I fucking love that shit. And that's the thing in life, this whole, I'll just sit back and someone will take care of me and all harm to none. No, there are things out there that want to hurt you. There are people out there that want to hurt you, that want to destroy you, that want to rape you, that want to murder you. That's the world that we're in. It's absolutely cutthroat. For you to grow bigger, you have to consume energy to do that. Aries understand this innately, and they have a passion and a thirst for expansion. Just like their counterpart, the Sagittarian, the other fire sign, and the Leo, these guys need an audience. They need attention. They need to be number one. They need to be the leader. They want to be in charge. Their natural strength is in the driver's seat. Now, an unevolved Aries is an absolute nightmare to deal with. They are actually one of the worst things you could ever get in your life. Worst. They'll have many kids to many different women. They won't pay child support. They're always around everywhere. They're full of shit. They're full of excuses. They're just a big kid that wants to play Xbox and fuck around. They don't take on the attributes of discipline. So when an Aries doesn't take on the attributes of doing the work, showing up, being consistent, and having the due diligence to go into making something or building something, Aries is a nightmare to deal with. Now, I've had 2 relationships with Arians, the Aries, the Ram, and both of them were fiery, explosive, and they don't end well. You know, you don't end up talking to a lot of the exes that are Aries. They are very hard to deal with. They're very overbearing, very domineering, and they don't mean to be. Okay, so to tell an Aries not to be excited, not to be excitable, is like telling a puppy to not be excitable. They are in constant puppy brain. That's just how they are. I don't even go near an Aries these days as a friend or any type of connection, partnership, whatever, unless they're in their 40s. Okay, this sign mellows with age, just like the Sagittarian, okay? They are restless. They are all about the conquest. They're all about the achievement. They're all about chasing goals and destroying obstacles. Aries' natural state is pitted against the uncertainty of life and all of the inevitable things that will happen in life that will come up against an individual. So that's what they do. They are the underdog. Now, these guys, when they're down and they've taken you in and they love you and they cared for you and you betrayed them or you lied to them or you weren't sincere or you didn't show them that you were on the same level of enthusiasm that they had for you, they get devastated. It breaks them down. It is very, very difficult for an Aries to recover from a bad breakup. These guys, they might say they're okay, they might deflect their emotions, but it hurts them to the core. It is wounding to the Aries. They might put on a brave face and get on with every day, but in the back of their mind, that breakup, it hurt, okay? And particularly if they've got their moon in a water sign like the Pisces, or if they've got their Venus in Scorpio, that would be a very powerful lover. Okay, so when I think, so Aries, you guys, like, it's a battle. You guys need the drama. You need something up to come against you. You need something to challenge you. You always need, and sometimes Aries stirs up some shit that just isn't there just to get some attention. You know, they'll make a story up or they'll embellish a story to make it sound more exaggerated than what the actual events were. It's just kind of how they are. Like, let the truth get in the way of a good story. This can happen. And that's part of their merry, drunken sailor type energy. Like they feel that they have to kind of be enthusiastic and put on this kind of false front to other people. And it is exhausting. And then Aries crashes, and then they need lots of time alone to recharge that, because it's not sustainable long term. So that's the thing. If you're in a house and you're with an Aries would be the sign that survives, to the end of the game. Aries would be the sign that isn't afraid to get their hands dirty. They're not afraid to pick up a weapon. They're going to get a weapon. They're going to get out there. If you've got people approaching your house and they're coming into battle mode, they're coming at war mode, Aries is the one that's going to get out there, probably going to call the cops, and they're going to fuck you up. All right. So this is a very competitive energy, and the Arian needs other people around them that inspire excellence. That's how Aries does better. Much like Pisces, if Aries is put around a bunch of losers and a bunch of people that are just absolute fuckwits that just won't do the work, are lazy, full of shit, full of crazy ideologies, Aries will be destroyed. So when it comes to Aries mindsets, they are sometimes quite black and white. A virtuous Aries is capable of profound loyalty and love. And if they show up and they stay in their masculine and they're able to acquire the level of time and due diligence to make something and build something, brick by brick, Aries will build their castle. They will build their empire. But if the Aries is lazy or is a liar or is weak-willed, the Aries will like to prop themselves up to look like they've built a castle, but the castle is made out of sand or it's made out of straw. It's not made of the tough stuff. So Aries, you know that if you want to get a lot, you have to give a lot, all right? And so Aries are explosive lovers. A lot of them have lots of lovers everywhere. Once they find you and they get you, and they go, these guys date up. Aries women date high value male men. Aries men are dating high value women, okay? It's all about sexual marketplace value. I've already explained what that is. So you should know the SMV is very crucial around Sagittarius, Leo, and Aries, okay? They don't want a loser. They want the prize. They want the best. They want to be in the bigger, better energy. They are not interested in reverting backwards. But the problem is once Aries acquires that lover, acquires that partner that is the most beautiful or the most desired or the most smartest or whatever it is, they're looking for extraordinary people. Aries are not interested in standard run-of-the-mill people. You have to be exciting. You have to bring something like fantastical. That's what they want. That elusive state of energy is what they are chasing, much like the Sagittarius. Aries needs that. The problem is once they get that, now what? They've got it. Then they get bored. So they need constant stimulation. ADHD or attention, a hypo-attention, very hypo deficit disorder type thing is very big around the Aries. They've got puppy brain. They start projects, never finish them. They've got lots of ideas, but they never see them through. So if you are an Aries, slow down. Slow down. You will get there. It's just not going to take a hot minute, okay? So you've got to build brick by brick, day by day, showing up and being consistent. Don't handball it onto your assistants. And I know that Aries love helpers or slaves or assistants. You have to do the work. There is no way around. You're either doing the work or you're not doing the work. Either way, you will only reap the result of the work that you do. So you know that. Okay, so a lot of people think they know Aries. Aries is very good at determining someone quickly. In a quick glance, Aries can look at someone and go, yep, you're a liar. Yep, no. They just know. Aries sometimes distance themselves from people that they feel are a threat. They need to really establish a level of understanding about a person before they jump in. An unevolved Aries won't do that. They'll just jump straight into a relationship. They cover a lot of ground really quickly, and then it just burns out really quick, like a fire. It just burns out, and then when it's got nothing left to consume, it just consumes itself, and their relationship comes to a fiery end. That's just kind of how they are. So the Aries hate routines. So if you think you're going to do the same old thing every day like a Taurus, forget it. Aries is going to be bye. Aries are very difficult to manipulate. Why? Because they have a very, very strong free will. Okay, they just do. Just like the Sag, just like the Leo and the Scorpions, they all have a very, very strong free will. Aries needs to learn balance. This is the thing, they're very excessive. So they can learn from the opposite on their chart over on the other side, which is the Libra. So if they can learn to stop getting into this black and white way of thinking and start kind of leveling out their world, they will sustain more long-term results. And of course, the greatest test of time, the greatest test of all tests is the test of time. So that's kind of how it is. Aries, you're not very good at juggling things. Like you can if you need to. If you've got like your moon in Gemini, you'll be able to do it. Depending where your moon is placed, you're very susceptible to the placements in your chart. So if you are in Aries, please get your chart done, get a natal chart done so you can see where your moon and everything is positioned. And then you'll know, like, so in some cases you might be a double Aries, which would be like Aries on speed. Or you might be, a Sag moon, which is you'd be a very rebellious kind of leader, very straightforward, loyal to the end kind of thing. But that's kind of it. So Aries are very impatient. They don't really want to take the time to read the book. They just want to skip ahead to the end and I'll just copy the answers off yours and I'll just get to the end. A lot of them are like that. People get very frustrated with Aries. And if you've got a manager or a boss that is an Aries and they are narcissistic, you just really have to get out. There isn't really any other way out of it other than just basically distancing yourself from them. Aries is the quintessential hustler, the father, the emperor, the structured being that is coming through after the Empress card in the tarot, and they want to start businesses. I think the best advice I could give you with a business in regards to Aries is just fail as quickly as possible. Because if you can fail, then you can learn. The quicker you fail, the faster you learn. Like that's true. So they've got an I can do anything attitude, and they've just got this kind of confidence which is just installed in them. This is an optimistic sign. I get along with Aries. If they have a goal and I have a goal and we're both on the same page and we both want the same thing, then we can team up and we will be a great team. Aries are team players, so but they just like to lead. They like to, being the alpha or being the leader makes them feel safe. Now, some of them are big babies. They really can't understand anyone else's needs outside of their own needs. They are petulant and bratty as hell. They have tantrums when they don't get what they want, like a big fucking baby. It's a total pain in the ass. A lot of them look for partners that will mother them, which is pitiful and pathetic. Some Aries that just had no choice, they didn't have an option to behave like a baby and weren't coddled, they are going to come in and basically raise their brothers and sisters. They are not interested in being a little bitch and crying. They just get on with it. And they have, the beautiful thing about Aries is when you look into their eyes, they have a universe inside of their eyes. And one thing I've noticed about them, they have a lot of rebirths going on in their lives. When a relationship has come to its end, it has ended. And Aries knows that and they move on. They don't sit around in it. They begin to move forward. And I love that. There's always a forward momentum because Aries know innately that if you're not moving, then you're not growing. And if you're not growing, then you're dying. You're either in a state of evolution or you're in a state of atrophication. And Aries don't like stagnation. It's got to keep it moving, keep it fresh, doing new things, going new places. It's an adventure. Like a Sag. A Sag and an Aries would be a perfect match. It'd be a lot of fire and passion, probably wouldn't be a monogamous relationship, but at least there would be an adventure there. You need to make them feel like you're going on an adventure with them and that you can accomplish things with them and that you're committed to their expansion. If you're committed to the Aries' expansion and they're committed to your expansion, well, shake your hand, it's a done deal. Let's get on with it. And off you go. You're full of life and full of energy. I love Aries in that way because signs that are very manipulative and kind of like to sit back and poke other people and deconstruct other people, like Virgo might, a very, very depressed Cancer might do that. Aries is not up for that shit. They just want to get on with it and they'd rather build something positive and move forward and create something than just sit around and talk shit and talk negatively of others. Now, when an Aries heart is broken, and when they break, they break. Like, because when Aries, remember, they jump in both feet really deep into relationships and it doesn't work out or their partner cheated on them or for whatever reason it is, like I said, it mortally wounds them. But sometimes Aries can be too fixated on that wounding. And what happens there is they can become particularly vicious in the way that they see the world, in the way that they interact with the world. Their attitude towards life can be particularly vicious. And I've noticed that some Aries that have bad placements or placements that are in opposition to each other on the chart. I have known two Aries people, one of which was a leader and a teacher to me and very beautiful man. He put a handgun to his head when he was in his early 20s and ended up killing himself. And then the other Aries that I knew, he kind of, they disappear into obscurity kind of thing. So this is the sign that one day may not be there. They might have decided to do a bolt like the Sagittarian. When they've had enough and they run. And when I say bolt, I mean like they'll go and live in another city or they'll go and live in another country. That when it's done, it's done. Okay, so that's the thing. So if you can show loyalty to an Aries, then that's a good thing. A good light-sided Aries is very generous. They will provide for you. They will provide for their kids. A dark-sided Aries is like the alcoholic father, the quintessential absent mother that's never around. Very explosive, very short-tempered, and get mad really like easily. But I love the energy of an Aries. I would prefer the energy of an Aries over a really kind of low energy, low functioning person. Like Aries are obscure in their own way. They're very extreme. They deal in extremes. So it's either all and we're doing it, or it's nothing and it's absolutely worthless. And they'll be like, bye, out the door. But yeah, it's just kind of how they are. If you're looking for an adventure and you want someone that is exciting and isn't afraid of confrontation and isn't afraid to defend themselves, then you could be compatible with an Aries. These guys are naturally independent. The dark side of an Aries is that they get too independent, and then particularly for the Aries women, men can't really see how they'd fit in the Aries woman's life. And if they can't fit in your life, well, then there's not really a place at the table that you're offering that partner, that potential partner, to be with you. So they'll kind of, drop off. Aries can be either the biggest bullies in the school, or they'll be the one that steps in and like catches the sword in their hands for the other person. So there is an element of sacrifice there. They will step in, and enough is enough. And when an Aries snaps, it is explosive. People end up dead. That type of energy. So these guys don't fuck around. When they shoot to kill. So that's how they play. They play by the sword. They're prepared to die by the sword. When they pull out their battle sword, they're on the battlefield in the heat of the moment. They've got to act quickly and act with strategical, very quick thinking. Like what I was thinking there is on the battlefield, like Gemini would be very strategic in its approach to being sneaky or cunning and understanding its opponent. Aries would win the battle by brute strength, by just coming in with the cavalry or coming in with that giant big punch. Now, in terms of energy, these guys, like, I think it was Robert Downey Jr. was an Aries or is an Aries, and Lady Gaga is an Aries. Goes without saying. They have down periods, and then when they're up, like, and I mean up. And they fight and claw their way back down. These guys can go bankrupt. A lot of them are terrible with money. It's very common for an Aries to experience bankruptcy in their life. But they know that if they spent that money and they were made it before, they will be able to make it back again. They just can. Like, these guys are like on Wall Street, making money, doing deals, like the movers and the shakers kind of thing. Like, that's, and like the Capricorn like to be a bit like that as well. So they don't like anything that's kind of repressive or restrictive, because it feels like it kind of tames them down or extinguishes their flame. They fucking hate that. So you've got to be their fan. You've got to be in their corner, and you've got to tell them that they're wonderful, they're doing a great job, and be a soft place for Aries to lay their head down at night on your chest, and, you know, run your hand through their hair and, you know, look them in the eye and say, you're okay. And if you can do that and make the Aries feel safe, the Aries will fight for you, and they'll go out and get money and bring it home and say, hey, I'm bringing home the bacon, you're cooking the bacon, kind of thing. So they'll be attracted more to a feminine partner if it's a male Aries, probably at the gym quite a lot, lots of tats, likes to feel powerful. If it's a female Aries, she can be terrifying at work because she'll just control everything and assert herself into everything at work, which can be very difficult to deal with if it's not done with tact. And a lot of the time, Aries blow up really quick. They're quick to anger, but after their anger has cooled down, they know that they overreacted. They know they went too far. They know that they did. And if you've got an Aries around you that can come up and say, hey, look, I went too far. I'm wrong. I was wrong. I'm sorry. You've got a good one on your hands. So stick around with them. But yeah, I mean, it's a shot of whiskey. They're not everyone's cup of tea. But I heard a good one the other day. I was listening to an interview with Margaret Atwood, who was the author of The Handmaid's Tale. And she said that not everyone will like your work. And if everyone does like your work, that's a problem. And I think that's kind of true. It goes without saying. So, you know, they like to goof around. They're big kids. They like to have fun. They're very fearless. You know, they jump in. They just want to do what they can with their heart. And, you know, that's the beautiful part of them. A lot of them are very honest. They just say it like they see it. If they're not vibing it, then they're just not vibing it, particularly if they've got a moon in Sag. So that can get them into trouble. But it is what it is. They're interesting. I would prefer an Aries energy over a really passive energy. These guys don't do passive aggressive, like little snide comments to people. These guys do aggressive. All right. So you go there and then we get it out and we've done it and now we can get on with it. That's how these guys are. So the rage of a mistreated Aries can be very vengeful. They can be very nasty in that way because they feel hurt. So they will go and seek revenge. But it's not the way. Aries know that and they grow out of that as time goes on. They kind of like a fine wine. Aries mellow down. Dating, they are not afraid to approach. So they know, Aries know that if you don't do something, if you don't make a move, if you don't make the kiss, or if you don't lean in, if you don't do the work. By the way, a great book for Aries would be the book called Lean In. If you haven't heard of that one, check it out. They know that if you don't do something, nothing's going to happen. So you may as well just do something. And they're not afraid to make a fool of themselves because they know that it's better to try. So yeah, also Aries dark side, they're extremely opinionated and they can be hypocrites. So they will say one thing but do the opposite thing that they said not to do. They are a bit like that at times, so that's not good. They're happy to direct you on what to do, but they won't practice it in their own life. So Aries, if you're giving advice to someone, you have to ask yourself, am I practicing this in my own life? And then, then act accordingly. Otherwise, shut your fucking mouth and stop giving advice to other people if you're not doing the work on yourself. So I hope that this video was insightful. I tried to drop in as much as I could just off the top of my head. It is, these guys are ride or die. They like to get into the roots and the fucking base of stuff. They can be a little bit rough and careless, a little bit tactless, a little bit brutish. But that's how it is. A lot of them are very practical thinkers. They're the quintessential jocks. They love, football, into cricket. They could be into basketball. They need energy, fast. But Aries, the best advice I could give you is that you have a very high strike rate, but the faster that you move, the lower your accuracy gets. So if you are constantly running on this kind of impulsive, neurotic high, that will not be good for you long term. It's better to slow down the flame, simmer it a little bit, and it will last longer, particularly in relationships. So if you're taking someone out on a date, I know you want to get them into the bed straight away because you guys like to fuck. Aries fuck, okay? They do. These guys fuck. It's better to give her a kiss and court her, take her out, hold her hand, make her feel special. And that's the best way to be. So put in the effort when they come back to your house. Obviously, I don't care where you live, make it look special, make people feel special, and then you'll do better. Anyway, I better leave it here. Lots of love to you. This was the cold hard truth on the Ram Aries. I know someone asked me the other day to do Taurus. I'm so sorry. I had to do Aries today. I was called to Aries. But I will be doing Taurus next. So the bull is next. The ram was today. Lots of love. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you know an Aries and you think, hey, this is like all true, I felt it, or maybe it's not, let them know. Share it. Forward the video on. It helps me out. And I will see you in the next video. Bye. Bye.